The former president, Donald Trump, is once again at war with the media. This time, he's suing CBS News for $10 billion. Billion, with a B. And it's all over the 60 Minutes interview that they did with VP Kamala Harris. The lawsuit alleges that CBS deliberately edited the interview to make Kamala Harris seem better, and they're accusing them of deception and trying to cover up her quote-unquote word salad. Yes, the court documents actually say that phrase, word salad. But really, it just seems like a case of Trump's hurt feelings. Watch him talk about it for yourself at his rally.
ABC is no good. They're no good. ABC is no good. CBS is no good. And in fact, in honor of you, I just sued CBS today because of 60 Minutes. You know why I sued him? Because she was on, and it was called election interference fraud. Very simple.
And just as a reminder to everyone, Donald Trump was offered to do the 60 Minutes interview. In fact, he was scheduled to do it. But then him and his team backed out once they realized that 60 Minutes was going to fact check him. Yes, fact check. What they do with every person who comes on the show. He couldn't just get up there and spew his lies, so he said, yeah, no thanks. And we all know he cannot stand when his opponents look better than him. So now he's resorting to suing CBS and claiming that there's no way Kamala Harris went out there and crushed it. It was deceptively edited. This is just another one of his blatant lies and attention grabs. The person who lies all the time is now accusing the media of being the deceptive ones. Listen to him here. Ask the crowd if he thinks that they should sue. Great closing message.
60 Minutes, they interview me all the time. But they go at me, oh, they want to get me, with her, all softballs. And she gives one answer that was so incompetent that you'd have her examined under Article 25, actually. She'd be gone. But it was so bad. What did they do? CBS, they're licensed by the United States government because of fairness. 60 Minutes, right? What did they do? They took her answer. It was a long, horrible answer. I don't like the word salad term, but that's what it was. It was a word, just words all over the place. They didn't mean it. They took it out in its entirety, didn't leave one word, and replaced it with an answer that she gave in another section of the interview. Nobody's ever seen. I think it's this is really interference with an election, fraudulent interference with an election.
CBS, for their part, is not taking these accusations lightly, and they responded to Donald Trump's lawsuit with a statement. Former President Donald Trump's repeated claims against 60 Minutes are false. The interview was not doctored, and 60 Minutes did not hide any part of Vice President Kamala Harris's answers to the question at issue. 60 Minutes fairly presented the interview to inform the viewing audience and not to mislead it. The lawsuit Trump has brought today against CBS is completely without merit, and we will vigorously defend against it. That's a statement if I've ever seen any. So what's most interesting to me is where Donald Trump chose to file this lawsuit. He filed it in a remote venue in Texas, of all places. And you might be wondering, why Texas? Wasn't the 60 Minutes interview showed nationwide? Wouldn't that be in California or New York? No. He's doing what us lawyers like to call as venue shopping. The plaintiff will go around and look for the jurisdiction or the judge that he or she thinks will be most preferential or deferential to his case.
They're asking, but think of this. So CBS gets a license, and the license is based on honesty. I think they have to take their license away. I do.
One of the most troubling parts about Donald Trump and his allies is that they always take it a step too far. It's a pattern. So of course he couldn't just stop at suing CBS. He actually went as far as to say that he would revoke their license to report the news. Let me say that again. He would revoke their license to report the news. A clear violation of the First Amendment. One of the bedrocks of our democracy is free speech and free press. The ability of people to say what they want about people and leaders in positions of power. Donald Trump doesn't care about any of that. All he cares about is how it makes him look.
He talks about Project 2025 all the time. I have nothing to do with it. I've said it every way possible. I even said to a very good lawyer, am I allowed to sue them for continuously? We put it in writing. We said to
Donald Trump even threatened suing the Harris campaign and team for talking about the fact that he's related to Project 2025. 100+ of his staffers were connected to the Heritage Foundation's 900+ page conservative playbook. But he doesn't want anyone saying that, so he's threatening to shut them up with lawsuits. No one, including the media, is calling Donald Trump a fascist for fun. We're doing it because he's acting like a fascist. Even his own former chief of staff, John Kelly, called him a fascist when he read the definition. It's right there. We don't have to go far to make these leaps and bounds as to his behavior and what he means. He admires authoritarian dictators because that is what he aspires to. And you don't have to take my word for it. Authors of the project have come out themselves and said, yes, we wrote this for Trump. We were specifically talking about his second administration. When we were writing this, we had him in mind. Take a listen.
And I suspect this project wouldn't exist if we didn't have the Trump administration, where you had a new maverick candidate who didn't have the machinery of the party necessarily like lining up and everybody from previous administrations helping out. And so you had this situation where it became clear that something like this is very necessary.
Well, that's quite true. I would say even more necessary in kind of the circumstances you describe, because even a we'll call it an establishment candidate where everybody just sort of wanders back in, but they're not particularly conservative, then they're more open, they know what to do more, there's less chaos, but they're less likely to actually seek to implement conservative policies. So there's a trade-off there, and we're trying to overcome the downside of that trade-off.
Vice President Kamala Harris and frankly the rest of America refuse to be gaslit about this. We know the connection, we see the connection.
You know that Donald Trump has disavowed Project 2025. He says that is not his campaign plan.
As you know, I am a former prosecutor. His DNA is all over it. All over it. His running mate wrote the foreword to the book of the author of Project 2025. I believe Donald Trump's name appears at least 300 times in Project 2025, and it is a blueprint, a detailed blueprint that is about the danger and the detail of what Donald Trump and his allies plan if he is in the White House again.
Donald Trump's long-standing beef with the media is far from over. Him and his team were also upset about VP Kamala Harris's appearance on SNL. In a letter, his spokesperson said, Vice President Kamala Harris has nothing substantive to offer the American people, so that's why she's living out her warped fantasy cosplaying with her elitist friends on Saturday Night Leftists as her campaign spirals down the drain into obscurity. That was from Stephen Chung. So, yeah, you can say that they're very upset. The media, to them, are foes and not friends, and they'll let it be known every chance that they get.